Hello, in this video tutorial we'll take a look at Unit 2 Activity 4. And in this activity you're going to learn about the elements of film, and then ultimately you're going to have to write a film review or a film analysis, which is going to be our major project for Unit 2. So this will be an important activity. To start with, you'll take a look at elements of film, and you'll take a look at camera shots, lighting, and sound. There's brief definitions for the different types of camera shots and the different types of lighting and the different ways to use sound in movies. You don't have to be an expert about the elements of film. You don't have to become someone who knows all the different details of a long shot and a medium shot and a close-up. But you do want to get a general understanding of the camera angles used, the lighting used, and the sound used in film, because ultimately you're going to have to watch a film and see if you can analyze how the camera angles are used, the lighting is used, and the sound is used. To give you a little bit more detail on the elements of film, you've got 3 videos here, one on film techniques, and it goes through camera shots and camera angles. The second one is on lighting, and it deals with low-key and high-key lighting, which are the 2 types of lighting that we emphasize up here. And then lastly, there's a video tutorial here on the basic elements of film sound, and it goes through the use of music and the use of sound effects and the different ways that sound is used in a film. So again, you want to take a quick look at these videos and make sure that you feel relatively comfortable with spotting different film techniques that are used in a film. Besides camera shots, lighting, and sound, you'll also have to consider the actors' performances when watching a film, the script, and so how well is the movie written, does the dialogue that the characters are saying, is it realistic, and then of course how other story elements are used in the movie. So in terms of the setting, and in terms of the plot and the character development, how well was that done in the film? Ultimately, what this is leading to is you choosing a scary movie to watch and then analyze it. And I've given you a whole listing of classic scary films that you could choose right here. You do not have to pick a gory, bloody horror movie. I know that's not everyone's favorite type of movie. You can pick something like a Harry Potter movie or a Lord of the Rings movie, or I think pretty much any Disney fairy tale pretty much would fit. We're just looking for a movie that has some scary and some tense and maybe some like thriller type elements, right? If you can find a movie like that, it should fit everything you need to do our assignment in this activity. If you are a big horror movie fan, you can absolutely pick a bloody, gory horror movie if you want to, though, and some of these will fit that type of film. So again, the goal here is to learn a little bit about film techniques and the elements of film, and then find a scary film that you'd like to watch. I've given you some internet resources. I don't know if they're the best. I don't know if how many students have tried using Crackle before, but that's a site where you can find some films. YouTube, you can find some whole films on YouTube. I did a quick search on YouTube for full movies, and you can find a fair number of films. I don't know if they're the best films. They certainly won't be the latest Hollywood blockbuster films that have just come out in the theater and things like that. But you can find a film on YouTube if you want. But my suggestion would be, when you're looking for a film, if you have Netflix or if you've watched a film recently, whether it be in the theater, whether it be on a DVD, you can certainly use a film you've already got access to, that you already have a copy of at home. That's fine. You don't have to use the internet to find your film, and you don't have to use one of the films that I list here as suggestions. You can again choose just about any film you like as long as it has some scary elements and maybe has some tension to it. Okay. What you're going to do then is you're going to download a film organizer here. And I'll give you a look at what it looks like here. And so this is our film organizer. And what you do here is while you're watching the film that you've chosen, you're going to try to go through the film elements. You're going to take a look at the camera work, the long shots, the medium shots, the close-ups. You're going to take a look at the camera movement, the use of high and low camera shots. You're going to take a look at the lighting. You're going to take a look at the visual effects, the music and the sound effects. You're going to take a look at the actors' performances, the script and the dialogue, and then story elements such as character development, setting, and conflict. And then as you're watching the film, you can just jot down examples. You don't need a ton of examples here, but if you can get one or two examples of a long and a medium and a close-up, an example or two of a high and a low angled camera angle, an example or two of low and high key lighting. So just a couple of examples for each of these categories. That will be helpful when you actually write your film analysis. So this is putting together your rough work while you're watching the film. Okay? And then this column right here just says, how did this help tell the story? Did it develop character, develop atmosphere, advance the plot? So if you come up with an example or two of a camera angle that was used, you can then give your opinion in this column right here. Again, what you're doing is you're just filling this out as your rough work while you're watching the film so that you have notes when you go to write your film analysis. At the bottom here, you do have a couple more details. Which genre of horror does this film belong to? How do you know? I should be more specific here. It should be what we want is which subgenre of horror does this film belong to? We've talked about 3 different subgenres of horror in Unit 2. So which one of those 3 does the film you're watching fit under? And then in your opinion, how effective is this movie in terms of establishing an atmosphere of horror? Does it build tension? Does it make you frightened? Okay. How scary is it? How much does it live up to the idea of a scary sort of thriller type movie? Okay. Again, you're just jotting down your thoughts and opinions here so that you can use this as your notes later on when we go to our assignment. Okay. With that said, if we move on to the assignment, you'll see that our assignment in this activity is a film analysis. So you're going to take the film that you watched that we just discussed in the content section, and you're going to take that film analysis graphic organizer that we just went over, and you're going to use that to write a film analysis. And I've given you an outline here. Okay? If you follow this outline exactly as it's listed here, you should be good. Okay? Essentially, you're going to be writing 6 paragraphs, and that sounds like a lot, and it kind of is. This is a major assignment worth 40 marks. But if you follow the outline for each paragraph, I think you'll find that it's manageable. So for example, in your introduction, in your first paragraph, you're going to provide brief background information on the film. Who directed it? When was it made? How was it received by critics and audiences? You can find information like that on the Internet Movie Database. So you can look up your movie online. You can find out the basic details. Again, what year was it made? Who was the director? Did the audiences and critics like it? Just give me a little background in your introduction on the film. And then you want to end your introduction by establishing your overall opinion. Okay? Was it a good or bad scary movie? Did the movie fulfill the criteria of a scary movie? So ultimately, what is your opinion? Don't save your opinion until the end to your conclusion. establish it right away in your introduction. Your body paragraph number 1, you're going to briefly summarize the plot of the movie. Do not reveal too much of the plot. Don't reveal the ending, but just give me a general summary in maybe 3, 4, 5 sentences of what the story, what the movie was about. What is the plot? Where does the movie take place? Who are the main characters? Just give me a little background on the movie itself. Okay. And then secondly, you're going to explain which subgenre of horror, the fantastic, the psychological horror, or the moral allegory, does this film belong to? And then you want to use examples from the movie to support that. So if you watch the film and you think it fits under the fantastic, that's its subgenre, great, tell me that, and then just give me an example or two from the film to back that up. So that's what you do in body paragraph number 1 or your second paragraph. The next paragraph, body paragraph 2, you're going to use specific examples from the film or from your graphic organizer to help explain the positive aspects of the film. So consider the lighting, the sound, the camera angles, the acting, the script and dialogue, anything that we covered in terms of film elements. Make sure you're using correct film terminology when discussing the elements of the film. So you're just covering the positives of the film in this paragraph. In the next paragraph, you're going to do the exact opposite. You're going to cover the negative aspects of the film. And so what are things that you found that you could maybe critique and criticize about the lighting, the sound, the camera angles, and the acting? You don't have to cover every single film aspect. You don't have to cover the positives and negatives of the lighting, the positives and negatives of the sound, the camera angles, the acting, but give me at least, let's say, 3 aspects that you found were positive and negative if you can. And I know sometimes it's hard because sometimes you watch a film and you think it's really good and you say, well, there's only positives. In that case, I still think you can probably find 1 or 2 things that you could critique and maybe suggest that they could have improved on. And the opposite as well, too. Maybe you watch the film and you really don't like it and you think that there's lots of negatives. I still think you can probably find 1 or 2 things that you could say positive about the film. So you do want to give me both positives and negatives. Okay? In your body paragraph 4, you're going to explain how this film appeals to the psychological needs of the viewer. Does the film actually scare the audience? Why or why not? So we talked a little bit about the psychological needs of the viewer and why people like to be scared in a previous activity in Unit 2. And so consider that again and think about, does this movie actually scare the audience? Why or why not? And answer that question. And then give me examples to support yourself. And then also connect the film to one of the readings that we did in the course. So we read 3 articles: Stephen King on Fear, The Psychology of Fear, and Scared Witless. So make reference to at least one of those 3 and use it to connect with the film. Okay, so show me that you can connect some examples from the film with the ideas that were presented in one of these 3 readings. And then lastly, in your conclusion, your last paragraph, you're going to summarize your opinion of the movie and the key points you've made. So your conclusion does not have to be long, 2 or 3 sentences probably, and you're just wrapping it up and going back to what your overall opinion was, and then any key points that you want to summarize. Overall, your review is probably going to work out to about 800 words. Again, as long as you're hitting on all of these questions and all of these topics that I've outlined for you in the paragraph outlines here, you should be good. In terms of the rubric, you've got how it will be graded right here. And so you can take a look at the different categories that I'll cover when I grade your film analysis. And then lastly, there is one last bit here. There is our portfolio entry number 3. Remember, we're not handing this in till the end of this semester, but it's going to ask, you both read and watched scary stories in this unit. What are the differences between reading and watching a story? What can a movie do that a book can't, and what can a book do that a movie can't? So I'm just asking your opinion about the differences between movies and books.